You're live.
I'm alive.
Oh, I don't see any. Oh, here we go. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired and I'm full. How are you?
Good. It's Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yay. How stuffed are you?
I've had worse, but I feel sluggish.
Oh, well. So we didn't have time to make a video for Dream Scenario, so we thought we'd do a live. We got to see the movie yesterday with a new friend, Alvaro.
Mm-hmm. Of course, this premiered at this year's Toronto International Film Festival. A24 released it technically on November 22nd.
Okay, the premise of this film. A hapless family man finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. When his nighttime appearances take a nightmarish turn, Paul is forced to navigate his newfound stardom. That's basically it.
Mm-hmm. And it's the second film directed by Kristoffer Borgli, who's Sick of Myself, we previously reviewed.
Yeah, we reviewed his first film, which I liked.
Same.
What's your pull quote?
A candy-colored clown they call the Sandman. I'm just kidding. That's Roy Orbison in Dreams. Okay, you don't know that. Okay. Neither a sweet dream nor a beautiful nightmare, Borgli's far-reaching satire on cancel culture and metatextual reception theory overstays its welcome, but finds Nicolas Cage in fantastic form as a victim of his own Jungian conundrum.
I did get the Beyonce reference.
Good.
My pull quote, an interesting premise and strong lead performance help make up for a ridiculous third act. The story is very simple. Nicolas Cage plays a guy named Paul, who is a professor at a college. He's an evolutionary biologist. And all of a sudden, right away, we see that people are dreaming about him. But in the dreams, he's kind of like unremarkable. He doesn't do anything. He's just in the dream.
He's passive.
And he becomes like an overnight celebrity. Millions of people recognize him. So he's approached by like a PR agency to try to get him sponsorships. So like the first act of the film is him acclimating to his newfound stardom and really trying to figure out how he can push his book, which he hasn't written yet. There are other little things we can get to, but those dreams start turning into nightmares, and we can talk about why we think they do. But of course, now he becomes a villain. People don't like him. People don't want him around. He ends up having to leave his job. He loses his wife. And then all of a sudden we find out that he has left the public eye. So the third act, we find out that there's this company that has made like a Fitbit that allows people to get into other people's dreams.
Called Norio.
Mm-hmm. The end. That's it. There is no explanation for why this happened to Paul, although we were able to figure out technology to replicate it, which is part of my problem with the film. But yeah, it's very simple.
Yes, it kind of like how Sick of Myself is playing with social expectations. I think in a lot of ways, this is doing that. It's laying the groundwork by giving us kind of a lot of subtextual hints that it doesn't necessarily drop the ball on. It just seems to kind of stagnate around and feel a little monotonous. And then the third act, and this is coming from you, had said that it plays like a so-so episode of Black Mirror by the third act. But there are a lot of things that are worth talking about, and I think Nicolas Cage is really fun in it. It's bizarre. It has some laugh out loud moments.
I think when we hit the 1 hour mark, I was certain this movie was going to be about like a dream within a dream. And really what's happening to Paul is a manifestation of his own insecurities and anxieties. But then when we realized that like, oh no, this is really happening. Like everyone around the world for a brief period was dreaming about him. And then we kind of dropped that and then turned to this new technology that allows people to jump into each other's dreams, which Paul is a part of. Like he witnesses it. We see that he's still popular in France for some reason.
Much like Woody Allen.
So he's still able to make money because he does like book tours and appearances. But yeah, I I really wish that the third act didn't happen because there's a lot of really fun symbolism, namely the fact that Paul's an evolutionary biologist, and he talks about it like maybe 3 times. The reason why zebras have stripes in the safari, because clearly they're not blending in with the environment. The logic is, or the theory is that they're trying to blend into the herd because a predator needs to attack an individual thing. So if they all blend in, they can't get attacked. But then it kind of just presents that like, well, do with that what you will. There are a lot of other things that just get brought up.
Well, he's kind of like the zebra that steps outside of the herd. And I think that's where we're getting into what social media might grant somebody for a short amount of time, and how they can shine bright for a second and then be canceled a moment later.
But I do think that, like with the person we saw the movie with last night, Alvaro, we had a really nice discussion afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds a lot of value, I think, to the story, in that even though it left me kind of unsatisfied, there was a lot to talk about. And I always like that. I'm just going to go through my notes.
I think that its strengths, are in what's still ambiguous about it, really.
Yes. So Paul is a scientist. He teaches for a college, but it's clear he wants to be like a published research scientist. And we see that like 30 years prior, when he was in grad school, a fellow student named Sheila was privy to some of his ideas. And now we find out that she's actually like publishing a book with concepts that are adjacent to what the two of them used to talk about. So the opening scene of the film is he and his wife. Nicolas Cage's wife is played by
Julianne Nicholson, Janet,
who we're told that he's about to go do something, and she's like, "Oh, can you record it? Because I want to like hear how you take them down." So as the audience, we don't know what's happening. What's happening is that he's meeting Sheila for lunch to confront her, because he wants her to give him credit in her book. But we find out that Nicolas Cage's character is kind of like a wimp.
He's a pushover.
He's a pushover. So he ends up begging her, basically. And she's like, boy, whatever we were talking about 30 years ago, that was all talk. You didn't do shit. I spent the next 30 years actually like doing the work and the research, and I wrote a book. So you're not getting any credit. Done.
Although later we learned she did steal from him, but...
Right. But like the opening scene, it's established that he's a pushover. He has 2 teenage daughters who don't really, his wife doesn't really even respect him, it seems. We also find out they've only been married for like 15 years. Mm-hmm. So they met when he was, much later in life. What did you think of the wife?
I like Julianne Nicholson. You just saw her recently playing Norma Jean Baker's mother in Blonde. But I felt like there are these relationship tensions between both of them, because both of them like can't seem to trust one another, which is strange because they don't seem to be that kind of loving or intimate either. But I was thinking we were going to go down the road of like Arthur Schnitzler's Dream story, which is what Eyes Wide Shut is based on.
Oh.
Because of the dream reference, clearly, but it doesn't really go there. But I found them to make kind of an interesting couple.
I hated the wife's hair.
But sure.
I hated it so much. I'm assuming they were trying to make her look kind of like unremarkable and maybe even unappealing to match him.
Sure.
Oh, I just hated it. And then we just watched Swordfish today. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, she wishes she looked like Swordfish. Halle Berry in Swordfish. And I hated her hair in that movie too. But so they go to see like a theater show. And as they're so Paul and his wife, as they're leaving the theater, this woman accosts him. And she's like, oh my God, I've been dreaming about you. And they haven't seen each other in like forever.
It's his ex-girlfriend.
It's his ex-girlfriend. And of course, the wife is like, who the hell is this bitch? And blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, I've been dreaming about you. It's so weird, like a lot. And I talked to my therapist about it, and she told me that I should reach out to you. So it's so crazy that I'm bumping into you at the theater. I feel like it's meant to be. Can I get your number? Can we go have coffee? Of course, the wife doesn't like that. They do end up going. And that's when the ex-girlfriend explains, like, yeah, you're just in my dreams, but you're an unremarkable nobody. You don't do anything.
But she asked to write about him, and her specialty in her blog is she says something about Jungian techniques, and I think that's kind of the key to understanding what the director's trying to do with the film, because that usually is something to do with uniting or aligning the conscious and subconscious minds.
Okay. Going back to him being kind of a pushover, Paul took his wife's last name, which I think is funny for his character. Then we start seeing, well, Paul is at dinner with his family when one of his colleagues calls him and tells him, like, this is so crazy, but I had a dinner party and like 4 people at the dinner party dreamed about you.
Including my wife.
And then Paul passes out from, like, he's just freaked out. And then immediately we go back to his classroom and we see that, like, all of the students have dreamed about him. And we see that Paul's very preoccupied with wanting to know what he did in the dream, because everyone is saying, like, you didn't do anything.
And that's where I think the film is most interesting. When he's upset about this, it's a fictitious representation of himself as a passive observer. He doesn't like the look of that.
Like you mentioned, the ex-girlfriend writes about him in her blog, and then Paul gets all these Facebook messages of people, like, telling him that they dream about him.
The friend that has these fancy dinner parties, by the way, that's Dylan Baker.
I recognize
you see
him.
The pedophile at Happiness.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You already mentioned Paul and his wife have such a weird dynamic. It's almost like they don't like each other, or they're, like, getting to know each other.
They maybe at one point intellectually stimulated one another,
and that was it. But there's a moment when something that was kind of interesting and then it just kind of falls off is, it seems like the wife is titillated by the fact that he's somebody now. And she's saying, but she's asking, well, why is it that I'm not dreaming about you? And he says, well, you get the real deal. It wouldn't be fair if you get both. And then they start doing kind of like sexy talk in bed related to that. And then she's telling him, like, role-playing stuff that amounts to nothing. Like, we never see it play out. When about 30 minutes in, I was afraid, and I also had watched the trailer beforehand, albeit with the volume off. I was worried this movie was just going to be a bunch of dream sequences about Paul. There are quite a few, but they're mainly relegated to the first half of the film. So I was glad for that.
There's some weird creative things in there, though.
There are some weird creative things. Oh my gosh. So at a point, someone breaks into Paul's house, like some crazy person, grabs a knife and, like, barges into their bedroom saying, I have to kill you, which felt very random. And the guy doesn't even attack Paul. He just sort of, like, crawls into the corner until the police come. But then the police come and they're trying to tell them, you need more security. And I was so annoyed with the wife. Like, she was so resistant to the idea of additional security, because the cop is like, well, you had an unlocked door. These windows aren't secure. There are no cameras, no alarm. Like, maybe you should start there. How about getting a guard dog? And she's like, well, my kids are allergic to dogs. It's like, well, then whatever, girl. Like,
no, I think where you got annoyed was the cop suggested they move. And she goes, I grew up in this house.
Yeah. Okay. And, well, the final straw was, when she said she wouldn't move. And it's like, well, then I guess get chopped up in your bedroom. I don't know. So.
Well, and she also benefits from her husband's newfound positive fame at work, because it allows her to be invited to be part of this project with a man that she carries on a flirtation with.
Let's talk about that man, because I thought the man was good looking, but I also thought he was gay. And then it's made very clear the only reason he's giving her attention is because her husband's famous.
Yes.
And it seems like the only reason she's trying to get his attention is she wants this work project. But then up until the end of the film, it's made to seem like she's having an affair with him. I thought that seemed really weird, because they don't seem like they would be romantic in any way.
I don't think it's confirmed. That is a suspicion of Paul's.
Yes, you're right. It's not confirmed, but as the audience, I also had that suspicion, and I didn't think that, because
he ends up kicking her off the project too,
because she's too controversial.
When the tables turn for
Nicolas Cage. But I almost wish they would have casted someone who maybe was like a more appealing version of Nicolas Cage.
As Paul?
No, as the guy who she's spending time with.
Sure.
Because as it is, it's like, well, he seems a little gay, and then also he looks a little too young and maybe cute for her, but
Ari Aster notably produced this. Originally, he was going to direct it, and he wanted Adam Sandler.
Oh,
and this feels very much like
I could see that
in the vein of a Punch Drunk Love or Uncut Gems, where Sandler's playing kind of a schlubby pushover, much like Cage is doing this. But
so where things take a turn is there is a PR agency called Thoughts, THOUGHTS ? And it's run by Michael Cera,
who I think is quite lovely.
I enjoyed him in the movie, and they think that they're telling Paul, you're the most interesting person in the world right now. We really think we could parlay that into a lot of endorsement deals. And they are really trying to get him to endorse Sprite. Their idea is like, well, maybe you can get into people's heads holding a Sprite can. Sprite would pay you a lot of money for that. And that's where Paul's like, hell no. All I want is to write my book.
About ants.
That he hasn't written yet. But the assistant to Michael Cera is played by Zen Tippy from The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Dylan Gelula.
Who I liked in this movie. She's the first character who says that she's not having, her dreams about Paul are different. He's not being passive. They are like highly sexual dreams. And she is very turned on by Paul. And she ends up seducing him by having him recreate their sex dream. But I think probably the best moment in the film was that scene for me.
The reenactment.
Because he's
fantasy versus reality.
Also, like you can see his like internal, like the turmoil of him knowing that his wife would not be happy. And then when it comes time for him to like do, this man starts farting. Then he ejaculates and
prematurely
ejaculates and then farts again and then freaks out. He freaks out and runs out the apartment. And then that's when everything changes. Everyone's dreams start becoming nightmares and really violent. And then we get all these really violent dream sequences that are pretty brutal.
Yes, but I think that's because that is where he has stopped being, going back to the Jungian theory of it, or elements about it, is that he stopped being a passive part of his own life and has kind of done something, but it's caused a lot of guilt and terror on his part, and then that is reflected in his ambiance, I guess.
Right. So the colleague who you mentioned, who has the dinner parties,
Dylan Baker. Mm-hmm.
He finally invites Paul over. But that period of when the dreams turn to nightmares happens really fast. So they must have received the invite before the nightmares, because we're told earlier that this man never invites Paul, because Paul's kind of lame, a loser, which is important to the story. But he invites him, but then the nightmares start happening. So when Paul and his wife show up to this dinner party, there's no one there. And the colleague is acting really weird. And the wife is acting really weird. And then it's clear that they don't really want them there. And then we find out that the wife is having really bad nightmares about Paul. So they get kicked out of the house. But that dinner scene was so awkward.
Yeah, that was done pretty well.
I can't believe they even stayed there.
Well, and he just has wanted it so badly. He's like, well, shouldn't we at least finish dinner?
They're like, no, you need to get out of my house now. So now that Paul has fallen out of favor, Michael Cera's agency is like, well, we need to spin this somehow. Like we got to get you making money. Also, he's been asked to like take a break from work because the students are afraid of him.
Oh, and his boss is played by Tim Meadows.
Oh, that's right.
Who I thought was kind of funny too.
I enjoyed him. Mm-hmm. Michael Cera's like, well, we could take the alt-right angle. Like I can get you an interview with Joe Rogan or Tucker Carlson. And Paul is Paul was frustrating to me, primarily because he's clearly a very intelligent man, but he seems so stupid in a lot of ways. Like, yes. Can you not see that no one's checking for you beyond you're the guy in my dreams? And why don't you capitalize on that? And then once all that dries up, then you can work on your book. That he kind of annoyed me, because even in the face of like, people are afraid of you and no one wants to be around you. he's still trying to act like anyone wants to read a book about ants he hasn't written. That was very frustrating.
Yes.
So then he's at a restaurant eating, and the server's like, I'm sorry to do this, but the customers are uncomfortable with you. I'm going to ask you to leave. And he doesn't want to leave. So this man gets up and says, like, hey, I think you better leave. And then spits in his food. So they get into a fight, and we see that Paul clearly got beat up.
And he's also reading a book that I think the title is Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. Like when you don't stick your head out and you're comfortably part of the herd, you'll have a comfortable life.
So we see like now he and his wife are fighting because she feels like you've created all this and this is not the life I want. Our kids are being affected by it because the teachers are saying you can't come to the school because everyone's afraid of you. Then, like I mentioned in the beginning, Paul does show up to the daughter's like play and causes the teacher to get injured. And that's where everything goes like super left. And that's when we switch to Norio. And this is where the film did become ridiculous because then we see like an advertisement for the Norio Dream House. And so basically their technology, this Fitbit, they have influencers who go into people's dreams to sell them things. So we meet the CEO of Norio.
Consensually, apparently.
And
somehow.
it just, you know, like when we were talking with Alvaro last night, like it just, like when you introduce this concept so late in the film, it brings up so many questions that as the audience I had that I think took me out of the first hour where I didn't feel like I needed an explanation. But now I'm like, well, this is confusing. Particularly you're telling me, because narration is telling us like Paul left public view and we never understood how it happened for him.
People just stopped having dreams. Yeah.
People just stopped having dreams about him. But then immediately we created technology to duplicate what he was doing. Well, then, so we do understand something. I don't know.
And he got to write his book, which in France, the title of the book, he wanted it to be Dream Scenario, but then he shows up for the book signing and it's Je suis Cauchemar.
I am your nightmare. He's at a photo shoot in France and they want him to take like a photo shoot with the Freddy Krueger hand. I thought that was funny.
And Nick Cage, you know, he has that ability to show when he's in on the joke of what the movie's doing too.
I think he's so good in this movie. I really liked his look, the attention to detail, because in the movie he's balding with like the horseshoe hair, and I think the prosthetic, the styling, whomever's grooming his beard, because I'm assuming the beard is like glued on. It all looks really good, really consistent. I even like the little detail of it looks like this character colors his own hair and does a poor job at it, which seems realistic. Mm-hmm. So I thought that he looked great. And there's a moment, I didn't even mention this. When things start getting bad, he decides to make an apology video against the advice of his PR people.
And has also had his own dream of himself harming himself.
And the video he makes is cringy, but Nicolas Cage does such a good job because he's crying and screaming. I think he does like top-notch work in this movie.
And then how his wife treats him, like, how dare you try to explain yourself? It's so embarrassing. But it's also at this point he's being victimized.
And that's what he's saying. Yeah. But you know, I almost think that the Norio concept would have made a good movie on its own. But then we have, you know, like, because then it would probably feel like the movie The Cell.
Sure.
But yeah.
Or any number of other things, really. And I also don't get the reconciliation of we can't really figure out how Paul was able to capture the cultural zeitgeist, the subconscious zeitgeist, right? But these other people have to watch tutorials about how to get into other people's dreams that are more susceptible to them.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about that the film introduces. So I guess good job for that. I mean, even the idea of like being a meme.
Well, and we didn't even talk about the casting of Cage is actually quite interesting as well as a meme worthy.
Yeah, because Nicolas Cage himself is a very recognizable person. So I think the casting works very well on that level.
And then the conversation we had last night, we dipped into this too, but that, and I've talked about reception theory many times before, but the baggage you bring with what you think you know about somebody into the theater, and how that can translate to somebody you're dreaming about, because that is your own personal subconscious, like giving you this baggage about this person that is they have no ownership of.
Yes.
So I again, that's why there are lots of kind of fascinating avenues with which you approach the film. But yeah, I was getting antsy at about the hour 15 mark.
Mm-hmm. What would you give Dream Scenario?
3.
I would give it 3 out of 5 as well.
I wanted it to end on a note like the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which the last line of that poem is, "Till human voices wake us and we drown."
Oh, I didn't mention, I did like the cinematography.
Oh, shot by Benjamin Loeb, who has lensed Nicolas Cage before in Mandy, which you haven't seen and is excellent.
Okay. Well, I'll go through the notes. Happy Turkey Day.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought it would be fun to do because I knew we'd have like the evening free, but I'm so full.
yeah.
We didn't eat as much as we could have though. Usually on Thanksgiving, the food is ready much earlier. So you're like grazing all day.
Mm-hmm.
Our food was not ready until like late afternoon. So we only ate the one big meal. So I feel good about that. I'm sure we'll tear it up tomorrow though. Because we're going to eat breakfast and then
More. There'll be more.
And there will be more. Thank you, BMCK. Hi, Shirley. Oh, Shirley's asleep. Okay.
Oh yeah, Blue Velvet, the Roy Orbison song I reference is what Dean Stockwell sings.
Roy Orbison, who's in the Righteous Brothers.
No, I'm glad you remember that, your own self-reflexivity there. But no, that is one of my favorite moments in Blue Velvet, however. And there's a Neil Jordan film starring Robert Downey Jr. and Annette Bening that's not very good, from what I recall, called In Dreams.
Oh, thank you, Tamara. 2 lives in a week. I feel spoiled. I like the live videos. They're also easier for me to do because I don't have to edit them.
And there you go.
Happy late B-Day.
Oh, yes. For both of us, kind of, really.
Yeah. Why does their skin look so good even in bad lighting? I don't know. I think this must not be a high-def stream. It does creep me out when people say they dream about me. Because, I feel like there's a lot of automatic innuendo.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, God. Especially like at work. Like, don't tell your coworker you dreamed about them.
When I was 16 and I worked at Walmart in northern Minnesota, I'm not kidding you, I had about 6, 7 of my female colleagues that would regularly come up and tell me they had a dream about me. Like, and then their boyfriends also usually worked there, so it was like, please don't do this to me.
We did eat Nick's corn casserole.
We did. I didn't even have the choice not to make it.
No. But it's good.
The ingredients were there, and I was told, we're ready for you to make yours.
Sounds like a funny dreamscape. The film from 80s, Dennis Quaid and Kate Capshaw.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, we are.
Hello. Happy Thanksgiving. Where would you rank this performance in the Nicolas Cage Renaissance?
It's up there. Yeah, I quite liked it.
Yeah. And he has like weird little ticks he's doing that I think really add to it.
Top 10 of all time, though. I don't know if it cracks. Maybe. Definitely not like top 5 where I have Bad Lieutenant up there, Port of Call New Orleans, or Adaptation. Who directed Dreamscape? Was it Joseph Rubin? That was...
What would Nick Cage's character think of Dr. Moreau?
I think he probably would have liked to play. He would excel anytime where he can be quite over the top. And we were talking about that after the film last night, is how his wardrobe and the prosthetics kind of diminish him a little bit and kind of rein him in.
Oh, Texas Diva also makes a corn casserole. It's really cheesy. Nick's there's more cheese in your casserole than corn, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. That's why it's so good. Well, and there's a lot of sugar in it. Mm-hmm. Where's the corn casserole? Well, where's that recipe?
I made it up.
That's right. You just told my sister what ingredients and you just threw it all in it. You need to write. You need to.
It is written down. She couldn't read my writing.
Oh well, we need to share the recipe.
You'll have to type it.
I can type it out. Halle Berry.
Oh, Halle.
Well, that's the secret movie for the podcast is going to be Swordfish, unless we want to change it. Well, I already took notes, so no. I'm an unremarkable nobody. It's my biggest personality trait.
Yeah, being John Malkovich is a good reference point for something like this.
Oh, I like a good banana pudding. Patti LaBelle's banana pudding at Walmart is probably my favorite. Then you tried to duplicate it. That was really good.
Well, actually, I couldn't find it, so I made Paula Deen's.
Oh, that's right. You made Paula Deen's. That was very good.
Yeah.
Then I made some one time that I really liked. The trick to that one was whipping cream, like whipping it with whipping cream and the cream cheese and the banana with the banana pudding. But yeah, Magnolia Bakery is like famous for their banana pudding.
You can find versions of the recipe, yeah.
And I don't think it's banana-y enough. I like my banana pudding to taste like bananas.
Patti LaBelle's there's not a lot of bananas in that.
It's not, but it also has like a cheesecakey vibe, which I like. It's also cheap, so I think the magic of her products at Walmart are that they're very affordable. So then it's like, well, this is really tasty and it's cheap. Nick, what are your thoughts on the "it was all a dream" trope twist? Is it played out or underrated?
I think it's played out. Sometimes that can be effective, but the go-to I'm going to my head right now is what Ira Levin did with Rosemary's Baby, and then in the late 90s he wrote a sequel, Son of Rosemary, where the son of Satan is a grown-up, I think, politician or something. And the end of that book, he goes back to 1968 and makes it all a dream for the Rosemary character, and I hated that. It just wipes the slate clean of any kind of responsibility, I guess, of having said anything. I don't like it.
There's a lot of research about dreams being a part of consolidation, which is when your brain takes short-term memories and makes them into long-term memories. So that's what dreams are supposed to be, which makes sense to me, because usually dreams involve they're not fully random. It's like things that you've come across in a period of time, sort of mashed up together. So it's not a coincidence that things seem familiar or people think they're like premonitions, or it's like, well, they are directly related to your thoughts and experiences. So they would seem familiar. But yeah, I don't believe a lot in like, I dreamed about fall, like how people, how there's like dream books. Like if you dreamed about falling, that means whatever.
I do have a nice old copy of Freud's interpretation of dreams that I've never read, which now I wish I had prior to talking about this, but I always meant to.
But I think if you believe in like astrology, you'd probably think dreams have meaning. And if that makes you feel great, I guess. Then let them get you, girl. That's annoying to me. In general, if people have problems and then you have a solution, right?
Yes.
How many people do you talk to and it's like, there's a solution to your problem and they make up excuses? It's like, don't ask me anything else then. I don't know. That's probably the one thing that annoys me more than anything is like excuses. Like if you want to do something like shit or be uncomfortable, then just say that. Just say you're okay with this situation you're in. Don't engage everyone.
Sure. And
then continue to do the same shit. I went off on a rant. Sorry. Someone saw this movie today and liked it a lot. It is good.
Yeah.
He seems a little gay. He did. This setting and lighting looks so nice and cozy. This hotel room is so unnecessarily big.
It is. It's a kind of a waste of space.
It's a total waste of space.
We could have we could rehearse a dance number in here.
You could. Nicolas Cage is sexy in her dreams. You can't believe it.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage does do some interesting voice work in this as well.
Yes.
It's like in particular in one of the dreams where the kid has like he's eating the mushroom. It looks like ice cream cones, and he comes up. Just the way he uses his voice in that is so stupid.
Someone mentioned the Macy's parade, and my sister had it on earlier.
I forgot that still happens.
I was surprised by the kind of music they were playing during the parade. Like, they had En Vogue singing "Free Your Mind," and like there was some Belle Biv DeVoe, "Poison." 2 songs I really, really like.
They're classics.
I just didn't picture those being like. I would assume we would get like holiday type. I don't know. I don't ever watch the parade, but
we have more than enough time to listen to holiday music.
We do. And then my sister put some on, and that didn't last long.
No.
I don't. People hate holiday music. I don't mind it.
I don't. It's just, moderation.
The director of this movie is kind of hot, or am I crazy?
He's a young, handsome man, yeah.
He is?
He doesn't take criticism well, though. Kristoffer Borgli.
Kristoffer Borgli? Let's see here. Hold, please. Oh. Yeah. He's a nice looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw your IG story. What the hell is Harry and the Hendersons?
Oh, it's a lovely 1987 film starring John Lithgow and Melinda Dillon.
Which was also a TV show.
Shortly after that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty popular.
It was in the 80s.
We did watch Swordfish.
Yeah.
Because my brother-in-law said it was good. I don't think it's that good.
I've never seen it.
I don't think it's that good.
All I remember was, we'll talk about it.
But we'll talk about it.
A dream blocker like in Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Yeah, that's what I'd need. If something came out like Noria, I'd need to take drugs like that. Because can you imagine the feeling of assault of somebody bebopping into your dreams and trying to sell you shoes?
Oh God, I'd be so mad.
I'd be so mad. Yeah, I would need a dream blocker.
Okay, I got lost again. Someone loves us together. We love being together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What? I responded. Yes. Same.
Wow.
Mossy. Bien sir.
Wow. You both look great. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not at my sister's house. We're in a hotel. Turkey sandwich time. Nick did cook. He cooked his corn casserole.
I wouldn't call that cooking, but I mixed some things together, yeah.
My husband makes chitlins. I make him cook them outside of the back porch in a crock.
As you should, yes.
I've never had chitterlings, as it were. Well, in menudo, there's tripe, and I don't like that. So when I was a kid, chicharrones are the fried pig skin, and I do like chicharrones, and I thought chitlins were chicharrones. So then when I first saw them, and I'm like, why are they kind of like soggy and then when you smell them being prepared, it's like bleh.
That reminds me of John Witherspoon in Boomerang.
When he brings that bucket of chitlins. Oh, John Witherspoon is.
Yeah,
I adore him so much.
We need to watch Rat Boy.
What's that?
That's where Sandra Locke, Clint Eastwood's ex, gave him a big break in casting him in Rat Boy in '86. I've never seen it.
Random question, Joseph. What did you think of Janet Jackson's Oscar performance of Again? I thought she sounded great. Her makeup was great. I did not like her in that white suit. And her weave, that leave out with she looked like Beauty and the Beast. I hated that hair, but her makeup was, I think Kevin O'Quan did her makeup for that performance, who we know was a good friend of hers, who's now dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, she, aside from her outfit and hair, I thought she looked great. And she sounded great. Have you seen the film The Dance of the 41?
I have not.
Does the corn casserole include gourmet mayonnaise?
No, because there's no such thing as gourmet mayonnaise.
If there was well, there's no mayonnaise in it, is there?
No,
Oh.
there's sour cream.
Oh, well, I like sour cream. When are you going to review The Color Purple? We see it on
Tuesday.
The new one.
Somehow I have to fit in watching the old one though, again, because
Ugh.
I don't want to.
I don't want to rewatch it either.
It's gonna ruin my day.
Oh, someone enjoys our shorts. Thank you. I appreciate when people timestamp things, because that's an easy way for me to do a short. So thank you to those who do that. Oh, someone went to the Whole Foods hot bar for Thanksgiving. That actually would be what I would do if I were alone. Someone watched part of Jarman's Blue today in my Sound Cultures Literature class. I felt smart since I knew about it because of this channel.
That's funny you watched part of it, because I've only seen it once, and I sat through the whole thing, and it's a lot, because it's just the color blue, and you're listening to Jarman, because he died of AIDS, and his kind of the people that were close to him in his life, talking about various things, and it's really, in that context, it's very depressing.
We need a Nick cookbook. I can tell you what that cookbook would be.
Oh yeah.
Put lemon in everything.
There's already, my sister for a joke bought me a cookbook.
All you need is lemon. Season your food after you get it. Doesn't matter. You don't have to taste it beforehand.
No, you.
What are some staples for you? You're good at roasting sweet potatoes. You're good at roasting vegetables. Your cookbook would be how to cook quickly. Who cares about a messy kitchen? All that can be handled later by someone else. Your cookbook would be like 5-minute meals. Yeah. Don't you think that if you had a cookbook, it would be about fast meals, flavors. Oh, you'd have an entire section of sauces.
Yes. And yeah.
Am I lying?
And the division of labor should hopefully include someone that does all of the cooking, which is work, including someone that helps with the cleanup portion as well, because that's, yes, also work.
There's only really one memorable scene in Swordfish. Halle Berry showing her breasts.
That's all I remember people talking about.
That's all I remembered. Yeah, I'd never seen the movie, but learns that Walmart women dream about Nick. Maybe there's a screenplay in there somewhere.
And these weren't all women my teenage age. These were adult married women too.
I like my pudding to be liquid, not bread. I don't like when the pudding, like if I scoop it and I go like this, if it would run down.
You don't like that?
No. Oh. I don't like yogurt, like, key lime pie, Yoplait yogurt that like you can just pour out of no. I would eat it. It's not gross, but I would that's why I like Greek yogurt.
I like Greek yogurt.
Like that damn oikos. The Greek, what's the one that's the honey?
The Athena.
That's
more like custard.
Yes, I like custardy textures, or like, a good bread pudding. You made bread pudding once out of chocolate croissants.
Mm-hmm.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Wow. Ugh. Patty pies are good, the sweet potato pie. And you can eat them cold or you can heat them up. You know what? If Magnolia Bakery used instant Jello pudding, I would not be surprised.
If you look up the recipes for it, I think they call for that.
Yeah.
Paula Deen's does not.
Did we see the Trolls band together?
No.
We talked about that on the podcast. Nick, I don't do sugar. It's more of a savory side, but it's really yummy. 1 can of cream corn, that actually sounds like yours, except, sauteed onions? Oh, yours is savory.
Yes, it is savory. I put sugar in it, and I use sour cream instead of milk.
So what did we eat today? Butter. Turkey, ham, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, corn casserole. My mom likes to make like a sweet potato pie, but it's like
It's like a casserole.
But it's like sweet potato pie upside down cake, kind of, because
Yeah.
it doesn't have a crust, but then the top is like brown sugar and pecans.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite good.
Homemade cranberry sauce.
Homemade cranberry sauce. I don't remember what else there was. That was enough.
Stuffing. You say that?
Oh, stuffing.
Uh-huh.
And then she makes this really good cheesecake that takes like 2 days to make. And then some brown sugar pound cake.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that. Oh, and that damn sangria.
Yeah.
This year it's not that strong. Because the first time she made it, that was just brandy.
Mm-hmm.
That was just brandy and Kool-Aid. I don't know what she did last time. I was so drunk.
Although I've discovered that I kind of like hot toddies, speaking of brandy.
I do like hot toddies. The problem is I like my hot beverages hot. And obviously I can't drink a hot toddy like super fast. So I probably need, you know what I really need? I need one of those warmers to keep my beverages hot. Oh yeah. Well, the Paula Deen banana pudding used the Chessman shortbread cookies.
Yes.
And so did the one I made. Mm-hmm. Well, it said you could use Nilla wafers, and then it said in parentheses, or if you want to be fancy. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be fancy. Only because the Pepperidge Farm cookies were on sale. I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. I love your channel. Keep up the awesome work. Thank you. I'm always young in my dreams. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Mm-hmm. Just do not dream about teeth. Usually a really bad omen.
I've heard of that too. Like if you dreams of losing teeth. And I was, that's used in a lot of movies too, but for some reason there's that scene in Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon where he's spitting out his teeth.
Oh, I love when you add girl to your breakdown of the movie. People often comment that I call people girl. Girl. Work dreams are the worst. I want to be paid for that. Exactly.
Yeah, taking up. I want to reclaim.
There is nothing worse than thinking about work when you're not at work.
Reclaim my time. Yeah.
I'll be so mad sometimes. I'll think like I'm going to take the afternoon off to compensate for the fact that I was thinking about work when I shouldn't have been. Thank you, Al Watch. I'm 25 years old and I still be waking up thinking I've got an assignment due or a test for school. You have PTSD from high school? Oh God. My senior, I should tell the story another time, but I have a lot of like cringy memories from high school, like not doing like forgetting an assignment, waking up late for class on like a test day. I was that person.
I've had nightmares about Walmart and Sam's Club. Like suddenly I have to go work there again, but I forgot how to operate anything. Being punished. That
happens anytime I take more than a week off. I forget how to log into all my stuff. You know, I had a psychology class once where the professor had us keep a dream journal because if dreams are part of consolidation, then that would support the fact that once you wake up, your dreams like are long gone. You can't remember them, but only for like a short period. So that concept was keep a journal by the bed, and when you wake up, immediately write down the dream. And I did that for 30 days, and that was actually a really interesting task. Mm-hmm. I probably should do it again. I still want to see how you guys dance. Nick dances like out of a movie, like
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Like someone's having a fever dream, and it's just like the movements don't necessarily need to match the music. Like you're in your own head. Though when I was younger, I was a better dancer. My body now is. I can't move very quickly anymore.
You don't want to move quickly.
Sure, but yeah. So now my dancing is very much like a little two-step. I'm not like we're not dropping it like it's hot anymore. We're not making the booty cheeks clap because I feel like I'm gonna throw my back out.
I mean, I'll injure myself.
You dance like you would hurt yourself or someone else.
Not someone else.
Well, you kind of flail, so
If I have the space.
right.
Right.
But no, I don't. Not at this juncture. Well, take us out dancing, and you can see. Um, oh, Texas Diva really makes. She's putting vegetables in hers, and I don't know. Well, you know what that sounds like? Cornbread casserole. Now, um, we started the interview with a vampire series. We talked about it on the podcast. We stopped watching it after the one girl joined,
Claudia.
and her accent work was like.
I don't think she's coming back for the next season. I would still finish it.
I would finish it. I really liked the main vampire guy.
Lestat.
Is that who I? Yeah, I found him kind of alluring, but yeah, we did talk about it on the podcast a while ago. Oh, Brandy was at the Macy's parade. I wish I would have seen that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that.
Are there any Thanksgiving songs? Oh, are there?
Not that I know.
Oh God, I need to. Oh wow, okay. Oh, people saw what I posted of you with the dog.
Oh yeah, Ronaldo.
My sister's dog. Oh, Mariah Carey on the Jennifer Hudson show, she did look fabulous. And you can tell that she likes Jennifer Hudson because she was being a little more, because sometimes she's kind of like deviant and difficult. I felt like on this one, she was trying to be like.
Sometimes.
Well.
Often.
So I did like that she seemed like she was trying to be nice. Does Nick have two moms? Like his mom's a lesbian or like.
No.
Or like my mom and your mom both love you. Sure.
Yeah, I have a mother-in-law.
Well, let's not talk about swordfish because I have to talk about it later.
Uh-huh.
What do you think is the most universally appealing hairstyle on ladies with long hair? Well, that's tough because it depends on their texture and density. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like a concentrated cut, which means it's all one length. Women who have hair like that usually just put it in a ponytail, which looks like a horse's ass to me. Or they wear it all like, I don't know. It's a little too like sister wife. Like there's no style to it. I like hair with a style. So, and I also don't like those V cuts. So like a lot of ladies with long hair, it's all one length, but they cut it in the shape of a V. So the back looks like this. But then people don't think when you walk, like all of your hair is not behind you. So sometimes like the front part is here and it's to here. And then it's separated from the back, which is down to your bra strap. So when you're walking and moving, I think that looks terrible. So in general, like a shape with some layers, it doesn't have to be like, they can be long layers, just some movement. I don't know. I also ask people if you like it, then that's what's most important.
True.
I don't see the point of having long hair to just put it in a ponytail all the time. Oh, and then I give this PSA once a year. If you get your hair wet every day, like how some people like to wash their hair every day, if you have a lot of hair and then you wash it every day and you don't dry it and you just put it in that wet bun, it starts to smell like mildew. And you can't smell it, but other people can, especially like if you're at the gym and you start sweating, or like if I have to wash your hair, it smells really strong. You do not need to wash your hair every day to put it in a wet bun. Anyway, the Norio thing was a left turn, but I love the satire of influencer culture. Yeah, I feel like that could have been its own movie because it was interesting.
I have seen Helmut Newton. Well, Sigourney was in a documentary about him called Frames from the Edge in '89, but he photographed her many times. I actually have autographed photo of her from Death in the Maiden shoot Helmut shot. But yeah, he did shoot Isabel, and he also has some photos of Charlotte Rampling, I think, are ravishing.
Was Cher in the Macy's parade? Wow.
She's also a Nicolas Cage co-star.
Oh, the main influencer or the main actor from Prey, the main female actor, is one of the influencers in this movie.
Oh, at the end?
Yes. Will we be reviewing Wonka? Yes, we see it on
Monday.
Monday. And we rewatched
Gene Wilder
and Johnny Depp. I had not seen them before, I don't think. I like Gene Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp's doing a lot.
Yeah. Well, that movie's not very good.
No. We'll talk about it on the podcast.
Valley Girl. Yeah, young Nick.
Me making a wine recommendations book. You know how I shop for wine? Ralph's or Vaughn's, which are the two grocery stores we go to, they have a deal where if you buy 6 bottles, you get like an additional 30% off. So I always buy 6 bottles. And I usually go for like the ones with the biggest discount. So like if a $23 bottle gets marked down to like $10, I'll choose that. That's only if I'm trying to be cute. So like if people are coming to the house, I want to make sure like at our little wine thing, we have bottles. Mm-hmm. But if it's just us, we always get boxed wine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not fancy. Does Nick at least use different utensils? I saw someone cooking soup, oatmeal, and eggs with 1 fork. No, you don't contaminate.
No, I'm very particular about flavor and germs.
Thank you, Evan. Happy holidays, y'all. Just tuned in, but I saw this the other week and can't stop thinking about it. This channel is the best in the game. Much love. Thank you. Yeah, we talked about it for a long time afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So good job. How to cook quickly.
Yeah, Raising Arizona is good. With early Coen brothers.
I don't want to watch the original Color Purple again. I've seen it many, many times because it's very emotional. And yeah. It's just one of those movies that I know I'm going to be crying and upset. And I know the story. Like, So I don't know that I think I need to rewatch it before I watch the new one.
Okay, I'll watch it alone then.
Nick's cookbook can have a foreword by me. My quote will be, "I'm still alive." Someone made roasted green beans with lemon, garlic, and Parm cheese today. That sounds good. When life gives you lemons, make a cookbook. The bread pudding with chocolate croissants was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Walmart is not open on
Thanksgiving.
Right? No, they're off on right.
I don't remember. I remember having to work on Black Friday when
you used to, but not Thanksgiving.
I don't remember now. I'd probably not, I guess, because they're a very conservative company.
I feel like Nick would love cracker cake. What the hell's cracker cake?
I don't think I've had that.
Is that like saltines with like
Is that like what like how white people are crackers?
I watched this man on YouTube make this. I think he was like Middle East. He was Middle Eastern. I'm not quite sure of his nationality, but he made a cake that to me looked like he was layering saltine crackers with like dulce de leche.
Mm.
But they were very thin crackers and they were big. But there was like 100 of them. I'm not gonna lie, that did look delicious. You would need some milk though. It did look a little dry.
We have tried the wee yogurts because Joseph doesn't like when I try to keep the.
He tries to keep the jars for what?
Because to use them again.
And did you? No.
Well, you throw them away, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've tried the coconut wheat. I did like it.
I mean, I don't think Paula Deen is a good person.
Oh, you got turned away from her restaurant?
Yeah, I'd be mad too.
I'd be mad too. Dylan's Sweet Treats. She makes bourbon bread pudding.
That sounds good.
Oh, that does sound good. She does smorgasbord in Prospect Park. What's Prospect Park? Why do I not? Am I drawing a blank? I have to look that up now. Is corn casserole corn pudding? You know what? It has the texture of like bread pudding,
kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beans, greens, tomatoes.
Oh, yeah. Let's get Shirley out here.
If you could get any drag queen to do your mug, who would you choose? Well, I'd choose a queen with my skin tone, or a queen who's good at doing darker skin tones.
I'd say Miss Fame, maybe, but
Miss Fame, yeah, probably Miss Fame because that's a good one.
We can talk about chickens.
Then we can talk about chickens. I say girl to not say bitch all the time. If we went to high school together, do we think we would be here now today? We wouldn't have been friends in high school, for sure.
Oh.
Well, because you were like a rebellious.
Well, I hung out with the stoners.
Like drinking and smoking and like loud music and driving around, like being loud and obnoxious. Those are the stories you tell.
I was the quiet one in the group.
Yeah, but I would not have liked the group you were in. So I would have assumed you were like that.
Sure.
Yeah. What did we study in college? English and psychology.
And I have a master's in social work.
Boom. Oh God, dreaming about getting evicted from your home.
Yeah, stress dreams are no fun.
Nick dances like Jim Parsons in Hollywood.
Not Jim Parsons. Ugh.
I got lost again.
Who knows? I probably do look kind of like that, but I don't want to.
Well, let's see here. Nick dances like the one scene in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Is Nick giving step up or epileptic patient in a psych ward? More psych ward than step up.
Not epileptic.
No. A little spastic.
Depends on the song.
I've made my husband a fan of you guys. He comes home and says, hey, when does Nick and Jonas come on? I like the name Jonas, actually. The Silent Night review, I already edited that and it's uploaded, but it doesn't come out until
December 1st.
So I'll probably drop it
that week.
Well, if December 1st is a Friday, probably like Thursday. BD were at the parade as well? Jeez. Do we play board games during the holidays? You know, it's funny you asked that because today we played chess.
How old's that kid? 10?
10. And he beat both of us. He's very smart.
But
I'm not good at chess either.
But I also felt commandeered by the mother who's like, you can play one chess game with him. Like,
what about your hairless cat? She's at home. She has a lot of space. She has 4 floors to run up and down. She's fine. She's good. I don't like to leave her for more than like 2 nights. But you could leave her for 3 nights and she'd be fine. I just feel bad. Although when we do leave her for a night or 2, we come home and she acts like she didn't even know we were gone. Oh, someone usually works on a Saturday, but they're here. Oh, right, because our lives are on Saturday. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Never. I've been to mosh pits. When I was younger, I was too insecure to dance, I think. So I actually didn't start letting myself live a bit until more recently, in the past 10 years.
Someone loves our reviews and podcasts. Thank you. Does Joseph watch Brad Mondo? Well, I know who he is because the company I work for has paid him to do stuff for us. Hair mold. Yeah, people get mildew in their hair. Like when you leave your clothes in the washing machine for 3 days and forget about it and it smells like that, or people's gym clothes that are always wet. Because a lot of people wear gym clothes and they just rewear them.
Mm-hmm.
They just throw them in a bag and then put them on the next day. That's how some people's hair smells.
Oh, is it hard to hear? I feel far away from the mic.
Oh, someone donated their hair to Locks of Love. That's nice. Yeah, Nick Cage had his dentitia was interesting back in the 80s. 2 Wonka movies? Well, we watched one night and the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, St. Paul.
Yes, we will be reviewing Poor Things. We see that. Well, I've seen it already and quite liked it.
My mother's cigarette-cured apartment is slowly suffocating me. Oh, no. I'm still alive. Happy Thanksgiving. Walmart sounds like hell on earth.
Because it is.
Yuck, I'm so full right now. Yes, we all are. Oh, Prospect Park in Brooklyn? Okay, that makes sense. Oh, someone used the old wee yogurt jars to drink red wine.
Yeah, see?
I'd have to fill that up numerous times, though.
Or a little nipper of brandy, huh?
A nipper. Would the Hunger Games be of interest for review?
The Hunger.
Oh, the vampire movie?
Yeah, my favorite. Yeah, with Catherine Deneuve.
It took a month before my wife realized there was no fish and no jelly.
Nope. Yeah, we lying.
Oh, you're finally sitting down to eat? Were you working? Do I realize how much I say interesting? Yes.
I know what
I say interesting because I'm trying to be nicer.
I know.
Live it up, Nick. Flail your arms and slap people if you have to. Don't feel insecure about dancing. So Aggie, we used to have her brother. So she did have a friend, but they didn't get along.
Who else didn't get along?
And I didn't like him either.
Oh,
so we got rid of him.
Well,
but he's still in the family. Nick's sister has him. But she seems fine on her own because we had a dog over once and that did not go well. We've had a dog over twice. That did not go well. I don't think she's an independent lady. Are we reviewing Renaissance? We're going to see it. I don't know if we'll make a video. It might be a podcast.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would make more sense to make it a video. More people would watch that.
I haven't seen Adaptation since it came out, but you're actually more of a Nicolas Cage fan than I am. But I do really like that film, which Chris Cooper won an Oscar for. And I read the book, The Orchid Thief, I remember, which it's, inspired by at the least.
Well, this was fun. We should probably relax now, but happy Thanksgiving to everyone. What else do you want to say?
I guess happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Bye.